in this video we are looking at the application itself. So let's go back to new, or click on file, wherever you're comfortable with. Either you click on this new, the white sheet there, or you click on file and pick new. Now we're not going to go to the other tab. We are going to use the application tab, and what we're interested in is the data entry application. So make sure that it's selected, then we say OK, and that will open the folder again. So once you've created the dictionary file and you are going to create the data entry application, automatically CSPro directs you back to the last used folder. So that is Introduction to CSPro. So we're going to leave our data entry application in this folder again. It is a good practice to let all your files go into one folder so that you can manage them well. So we have CS intro, that is the name. Let's take off the extension. So CS intro is the name we are given. That is the name we give to the dictionary file, and we're giving the same name to the application file. Don't worry, there won't be conflict because of the extension. So click on save, and it gives you something else. Now, what are you going to base on in creating the application? That is what we call the input dictionary. So the input dictionary is what we created, as you can see here in the dictionary tree. That is what we want to use here. That is the structure that you provided earlier on in the last video. So we are going to direct CSPro to that particular folder and select the file, the dictionary file we want to use in creating this application. It's a good thing if you know that place, not a problem. Just click here and start typing. Okay, then you go straight to that place, csintro.dcf, that is the dictionary file. Unfortunately, that is not a good thing for me because I don't keep those in my head. And if you are like that, the easiest way is CSPro provides an alternative that is very simple, that allows you to navigate to the folder without having to remember the full parts. So here, those three dots you're seeing, you just click on that, and that will open the immediate folder, giving you access to select the dictionary files. So that could have been, you could have more dictionary files here, so select the one that you are interested in. So this is the first and the only one that we have, so we click on that and we click on save. So you can see that the path is created for us. So all you need to do is now say OK. For the first time, so it's asking this question: would you like CSPro to create a set of forms for you? Yes, we would want to see the forms. If you don't want it, you want to create your own forms, you say no, then you start creating your own forms. But for now, let's accept the default and see what it is. Right now, we are not going to bother ourselves with making fancy forms or selecting things that we want to, do differently. So all we want to do right now is just allow the default and see how it works. We can come back later on and start changing them one at a time to see how it will look like if we make the changes in this dialog box. So we say OK to the defaults that we have here. Now you can see here the dictionary tree is replaced with the form dictionary tree. So the ID form gives you this. Now you see when I click on it, see what happens? It selects it. Okay. Now this, I can move them around individually, or I can move them as a group. Okay. So how do I move it as a group? I can select it as this. Just make sure that you click and hold your mouse button and select the whole set of text or boxes that you want. Leave it. When you see this, anywhere you are placing your mouse and you see this nicely shaped plus, all you have to do is click your left mouse button and hold it and move it around wherever you want to go. It sends all of them as same. It won't change the format for you. Now this is not how it is in our paper questionnaire, you don't have the ID in one page, then you go and have the basic information in another page, then you have the course registration in another page. Now you go to another page to assign. It is not like that. What we actually need is to have all these in one paper, in one page. Okay, so I am going to delete all these and we create our own forms. So I'm just going to press on this and say delete, basic information delete, course registration delete, course confirmation delete. So I'm pressing the delete on the keyboard once it is selected and it takes it off. Now we don't have anything here. Where do I get the forms? We go back to the dictionary tree. As you can see here, this under the tree, the form tree here, you have some three tabs there. You have the files, dictionary, and forms. So we click on the dictionary to display the dictionary information. Then we pull them one at a time to the same page. So I pick the ID first and place it here. Accept the defaults, pick the basic information and place it here. Accept the defaults, come and pick the course registration, put it here, accept the default, and then pick the confirmation here and put it here, and that will give us this. Unfortunately, look at this. It doesn't look like what we needed to do. It doesn't look like we can enter two courses for the same person. That is the problem we're going to face. So because of that, I am not going to accept this form as it is. I am going to actually go back and say, okay, please form, let's take you off and go back to the dictionary. We still have something to do in the dictionary. So let's go back to the course registration, the record. Right click on it and modify. We are modifying the record. Then inside here, press your enter. Then the max, we are going to give it a max. How many should we enter per person? So I'm going to just select 3 courses, maximum of 3 courses you can register per student. So type 3 there, press your enter key, and it is accepted. Save it, and let's go back to our forms. So let's go ahead and then add them again. So your ID, accept default, basic information, accept defaults, course registration, accept defaults, and then course confirmation, accept the defaults. So now this looks more like the form that we wanted to work with. So the next thing to do is to rearrange them to look like how it was in the paper. So for the program study and year and program, we want to put those in one line. So I'm going to select the year and program in addition to the box corresponding to that and move it to align with the program of study. Leave it. Do the same thing to the age, and then the age of the student to align with sex of the student. Okay, leave it there, but the spaces is a little big, so I'm going to go back again and move it closer to the program of study. Right, so we leave it there. Move this up, so I can actually move all these up. So we have up here. Okay, shift this back a little. I'm using my arrow key to do the shifting. Alright, so you can make your form more beautiful than it is now, but the basic thing is to learn or to understand how this is done. So I'm going to focus on making you understand rather than trying to make my form look beautiful. So basically we have the form looking the way it should be, but just a few things that are missing. What is missing is those boxes separating the sections. So how do we get that? Where do we get the boxes? You can right click in any place on this gray area. Then we are looking for boxes. We want the boxes, so add boxes. We click on that. then you see some nice boxes here. So the box we're going to need or we want to use, I'm going to put it up here, is this very thick one. It's looking nice, so we want to use that one. So I'm going to use that and then surround my form with it. So I'm giving my form a border. Looking nice. Alright, so it looks a little better than it was. And my registration information, I would want something different. Okay, so I want to say, okay, why don't I move this a little down to this, and then just give this a box. Okay, here I'm giving this a separate box. So the next one I want to do is just to enclose the course registration information with the signature form. So I'm going to have this surround here. Okay, so it looks better. So we can leave it as it is, but then what about this? We can pull it to the edges and get some little space to add. So moving this to give it a little space here. Alright, so right now it looks more like we wanted it to be. We can actually extend this one, but that will not increase how many we want to enter. So just increase it to fill up space and look a little nice. So we're saving this form, but then we want to give our form a title, and the boxes will not give us that opportunity to write. So I'm going to right click again and say I want a text. Give me a text. Student registration form. Choose the font. Let's change the font to something else, maybe this bold something, then increase the size a little bit. Okay, and we can change the color to if we want to. So let's change it to something that is visible, red, looking different. Good. So we have a form, a label there called student registration. Alright, so now it looks better than it looked before. Let's save this, close up this box. The next thing we can do to help us, we cannot enter the data here, as you can see. When you click on it, you are allowed to move them around, but it is not giving you access to enter the data. So we want to enter data, not just design the form. Now again, look at these. They are not positioned probably well, except this one that is looking like it's okay, but they are not okay to me. I want them in the middle, so you can change that too. So let's put this in the middle. Right click on course code, then you take column properties. What do we want there? Vertically, we want to align it in the center, and sorry, horizontally in the center and vertically in the middle, and say okay. You can change the text here to something else, but now just leave them as they are. We just want to understand how we can do this and the options that you can have in designing the form. So we have several options. Let me change this a little bit, not that red, dark red. Okay, now you can see here apply to all. That will mean I can apply to all or just this one. So let me apply that to all of them, and that will be yes, that has applied to all of them. So not actually in the middle, this is in the bottom, should be this way, then apply to all. Yes, do that to all of them, and we are now in the middle, except these two that are somehow aligned differently. So you can move them around. If I move one, the rest will move and follow. So I am moving this small box to the middle here, and the rest will follow the same way. Move this to the middle, and the rest will follow. And this now looks like okay to us. Alright, so you can save this, and let's now try to enter the data. At the very top, you see on the toolbar, so you see some traffic lights that says run when you place your mouse on it. So click on that one, and we see another window opening with funny things. See here the extension here, the type, source type says CSPro database, DB is database. If you click there, you have a number of them, encrypted, text, or none. So by default, CSPro DB is picked for us. So for now, we will understand them later on, what they mean and what we can use them for. But for now, we are just going to use the default database assigned to us by CSPro. So what we are looking for is to create a name, create a database name where all the data will be stored when you enter the data. So here the input data, we are going to click on these three dots and give it a name, and that name we're going to follow by the names that we have used so far. We're going to follow the same thing. So CS intro, take off the extension, and the new extension will be .csdb. So we save that and say OK. If it was encrypted, allowing certain people to enter, this would have been like your user login. If you don't have a valid user name or operator ID, you would not be able to enter the data or view the data. But then we can just pick anything. We haven't encrypted the data. So I just say ABC is my operator name. Then I say OK. Then the form is allowed. It gives me access to enter data in the form. So you can see that things are happening. So that means that I can now enter the data. I can't move them around this time around. So it allows me to enter the data. So I'll go back to student registration number and I'm going to enter, let's say, this is the first number. As you can see, the leading 0 is there because we asked it to allow leading zeros to be there. So it will be there. If we had disallowed that, you would enter the 0 before the 9, but this place will be empty. You will see that it will just be 9200, but this first 0 will not be there. So that is the advantage. So we enter our first names, let's say Benjamin, last name Apam. We don't have other names. Then we go to program. So now you can see that it is giving us access to see the actual department or program names, and not just to enter the codes, whether you know them or not. So we can simply just pick them from here. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm in statistics, and it entered. Then here in program, what is your level? I say 200, it moves there. Sex, then it goes to the age. How old are you? Then I can now input the age there. Let's say 20 years. Then phone number 02 34 56 7 8 9 10. So once it's 10, then it moves. So you see here, because we did not allow leading zeros, you don't have the 0 appearing, but there is the 0. So email address, I can put apam@pac.com. Alright, then I come to the course registration column. Here I enter the course title. Let's say STA228. What is STA228? Introduction to Data Analysis. Tap. What is the credit hour? I put 3 there. Class number. Okay, we are in, let's say, computer lab L. Okay, so L01, so computer lab 1. Then we go to STA 217. What is 217? Let's call it French language. So if you have French language as a course in statistics, we can just have that. Okay, then credit hour 2, where do we have that? We can have it in the hall 1. This is H01. Then we have another course called ELM 110. What is 110? We call that mathematics. 2 credit hours. Then we can have it in lecture 12, lecture hall 12. Who is signing this form? The student. So I can use my initial, say, okay, BA, and press enter. Accept. Yes, accept. And automatically that is saved. As you can see in the left side here, it is saved, and we are allowed to enter another one. So if you have any questions, you drop it down there in the comment sections and we try to address them.